All right, good morning, guys. I'm gonna do a quick update, really quick update, maybe like 5 minutes. I'm gonna go from there. So, as I was saying last night, this blue channel was where I was expecting the rejection of one of these two lines, either the 4-hour breaker here or the rejection of the channel / consolidation cluster. We got a little above what I was expecting, but we didn't actually tap this. A little bit of a weird void area we actually rejected off of. I don't know why it rejected there. It may have been a lot of liquidations. It may have just been front ran. The point is like now we have some sort of a breakdown. So let's see what we're looking at here. My bias, like I said yesterday, was to come down here, sweep these lows, and continue back up. The lows are going to be these two liquidity spots right there. I think they're very, very tempting for whales to come down here, tap that liquidity, get filled in there on their long positions, then shoot back up. I think that makes the most sense on the psychological and technical side. We also have this level right here, which I believe is like a daily level. I'm not entirely sure. And then if we do lose that, then we're looking at this level down here. And if we lose that, then we have a ways to fall. If we lose this, it's going to get violent. Like, I cannot stress that enough. It's going to go from there. It's going to go from here and teleport down here. I really do think so. There's nothing here that really is going to provide any sort of consolidation or any sort of like real resistance or support, except for maybe this channel. But even then, I think it's just too far out for this point. I think it's going to go from here, get violent, and drop down here to the 40s region, like the low 40s. Not necessarily way down to 38. I think it could stop here on 41-ish. I think that's a pretty good opportunity. But that's where we're looking at. So we need it. Oh, the other possibility. I haven't talked about this one. Let's go to a 6 hour. Maybe it's on 6. Not clear on the 6. Let's go to the 12. No, not clear on the 12. So I guess the 4 hours is all we got. So on the 4 hour, we have this breaker right here. I think there's a chance. There's a chance that it comes down here, taps this breaker, and continues back up. I don't know what the odds are on this necessarily, but it's possible. I really do want these two lows to be swept. That would really help us out, establish a better support and base. That being said, it's not completely unreasonable to stop here and then continue back up. And we may even see new highs from this level. But I really want to see it come down here and at least sweep these two lows at the bare minimum. So our others, let's look at how we're handling up. Alts are, they're dropping, and that's expected. I did add our new position for ZEC last night or this morning. I think this one looks very, very healthy. If you go to the BTC pairing, you guys can see it's going to look very similar to our EOS and also our ETC breakout. So you go to a very high time frame, like a weekly level, zoom out, you guys can see this trend line has held up for a long freaking time, and we just tested it and broken out. So when you break out of this massive trend line like that, you would expect some sort of a massive movement like we've seen on EOS, like we've seen on ETC. Let me show that real quick. So like ETC, gotta find it. Where's that? This the one? Yeah, essentially. So like we broke out of here, and we've obviously made pretty decent movement, right? You guys can see that. And then if you go to EOS, this one's definitely not as broken out yet, or it's not as violent yet. It's pretty good actually. But you see how it just really shot out once it got to that level. So that does look really healthy actually. The point is that I think that we're at a. I do expect some sort of a movement downward on Bitcoin. A little further. I don't know exactly how far. Let's see. I'm gonna look at some of the other ones to see if there's anything else that's really holding up or makes a lot of sense right now. XRP is still doing its thing. Let's go to the 4 hour. God, it broke back below again. Oh my gosh, this damn coin is killing me. What I did last night, I mentioned it in the chat, is that we in the chat, what I was talking about is that I have sold off some Litecoin. I sold off some BNB to purchase more ZEC. It might be a short-term position. I don't know yet. I'm going to see how the market really reacts to it. But I think that breakout just makes too much sense. And I think it's early enough in the breakout that I went ahead and bought some. I got it around like the 330 region. That's where I got into this position. So we'll see what happens there. I think Raven looks really good. I talked to a buddy of mine. He's another crypto. Let me rephrase it. He is a crypto influencer. He's one of not too popular by any means, but I do trust his positions on alt really well. And he also agrees that Raven looks really good. Another one that I haven't even discussed because I don't even have this coin is Ray. R-A-Y. Let me see if I can try to show you guys the level I'm looking at. I think it's the daily. Yes. This daily level looks awesome. And the reason why, because you have this range that's established here. And if I do it weekly maybe. No, 4 hour, 12 hour. 12 hour looks pretty decent. The point is you have some sort of a range, right? And if you want to call this it, that wouldn't be necessarily bad. You want to call this it, wouldn't necessarily be bad. The point is that it's been beating against this level for a while, finally broke above, and seems to be consolidating, and also did some sort of a retest of that level. So this looks really, really healthy on a high time frame. So you guys can see like this thing has absolutely exploded already, and I think it has a long ways to go. I don't have any price targets necessarily. I haven't done that much in-depth analysis on it, but just this reclaim of this level does look very, very healthy, and who knows where this one gets to. So if you can get Ray, I think it's a good buy. That being said, it's not on my exchange, so I'm not really focusing on it too much. Let's see what else. It's probably about it, honestly. Let's see if anything else is really holding up really well. Yeah, anytime you do have a massive drop, something to really consider is how well are certain coins handling the drop. If they're handling it really, really well, like Ethereum is right now, then you know that it has a lot of strength, right? And that means that strength is what we want to be buying. So if it is holding up really well, that's a really good sign. AAVE, let's look how it's holding up. It's holding up very well to this drop. So AAVE, I called this out a few days ago. It looks pretty damn good. Band's holding up really well right now. Okay, that's one of my holds I haven't talked about in a while, but it's holding up really well. Doge is holding up pretty decently. That being said, though, you got to understand it's dropped so damn far. It's not that surprising it's having some sort of a bounce. So, ooh, ENJ just collapsed. Ew. All right, well, it did do really well and then just collapsed afterwards. Yep. All right, well, we'll see what happens there. Loom, I'm not going to talk about that. Matic, Sol, Uni. Ooh, Uni's doing really well. It's one of my holds, so I'm really content with that. All right, cool. Yeah, it's one of my long terms. I talked about it before. I haven't really discussed it too much lately. And of course, ZEC looks amazing, and it's holding up this level really, really well. Even despite the block, despite the drop, the BTC pairing is holding like a freaking champ. So I'm really happy I got in this position. I think this one has some serious upside. I don't really have any targets, honestly. I'm just going to hold till this weakness. I think that's a really good idea in this market, is to not really get too caught up in what your actual price targets are, and instead just sit on your hands until you show weakness or you see a better opportunity, like I saw with ZEC. So even though Litecoin and BNB still look good, I think that comparatively to everything else, I think the ROI on those coins isn't as high as ZEC. That's my thought process. I think that ZEC may, do 5x from here, yet LTC or BNB may only do like 3x, which is still incredible that this is even something to consider. But like, that's how you have to consider this. Like, how much potential does this new position actually hold? So even though I am absolutely not bearish on BNB or LTC, I think that I'm overexposed to those positions, and I think for the amount of ROI that I have, I think I can go somewhere else and get better. Let's look at it. Oh my gosh, look at that. It is collapsing. Okay, all right, so wow, I didn't even notice this. Bitcoin dominance chart is absolutely just utterly collapsing. And Bitcoin is dropping. That is actually really big news, because this is what happens during a decoupling, right? So that means that despite the fact that Bitcoin is dropping, the altcoins are holding up exceptionally well, which is really, 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 really good. That's a really big sign, actually. All right. I'm going to try to do a more in-depth analysis on that particular thing really soon, because that might be something really, really important to look at. Regardless, though, despite that, we do have this major support level coming up pretty damn soon. So because the support level exists, we would assume that this is going to provide some sort of resistance, and that means that the alt market is going to actually have strength relative to the Bitcoin pairings, or Bitcoin market. We would assume based upon that. However, just like we completely, utterly collapsed through this breaker, and we also just pretty much collapsed through this breaker, maybe it's possible we collapse through this one as well. I would be surprised if we did, but like you can see, there was no sort of like rejection on a weekly level on these levels. So don't get your hopes up on it. We don't want to expect it not to, or we want to assume it's going to provide resistance, but it doesn't have to. And if we lose that, like I don't even know at that point. I think realistically, all-time lows on the Bitcoin dominance is, I would say, like, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but very, very high probability if we just break right through this. That's a lot of strength moving down. All right. Wow, that looks good. All right, let's go to the total 2, see how it's holding up. Like a boss. What is that from? Like a boss. There we go. Oh, that's a Joker's thing. That's right. That's some Practical Jokers. Like a boss. Yeah. So regardless, though, it's holding up really, really well. Came down here, reacted. Like, look at this line. If you don't, my gosh, I called that sucker so well. It's insane. All right, well, whatever, guys. Telling you guys, TA works. Do not tell anyone, I don't care who the hell it is, tell you that TA does not move market, because they are full of shit, and I'm proving it to you every single day. And if you guys are not inviting your friends to this group, like they're missing out on some serious cash. So I don't know what to tell you guys. So let's see what else. I think that's all I'm gonna go over. So if you got any questions, like always, let me know. I'm working today, so I'll try to go in and answer questions to the best of my ability. Probably around 9 o'clock, I'll be able to start going on here and start answering questions, but I'll definitely be unavailable for the next 2 hours or so. So, all right, guys, have a